Hello, it's Tuesday,
Hello.
where we are by ourselves talking about the things we were building. No one wants to join us anymore for these. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was fun for a while. I mean,
Yeah,
not that it's not fun now, but
it's more fun if you have more people. I agree. It's because, of course, we could just keep talking about the same things, and we talk about the things we're working on all day, every day. So it'd be nice to mix it up a little bit. Um, but yeah, you brought up a good point there, and I was just asking what should we talk about today. Um, Coin drop my project from the first cohort, and I think I had it in the back of my mind for a little while, but I think I already pretty much moved on from it, at least mentally. So I might actually make that a point this week and put that and somehow come up with like a project graveyard, maybe, where maybe I'll also blog about it or update the blog post at least that it's been put on the graveyard because it doesn't have a functional product, right? It's just still the idea on the landing page and the sign up, but I don't think I also didn't market it, so I guess I can't really judge if I got enough traction to continue with it. Well, I didn't, but that might be my own fault. So, in order to be fair to my one customer, I will probably refund Kyle, who has been the only one who actually pre-purchased. And yeah, again, I think that's my fault because he found out about it when I was still building it in public, and then I stopped. Right, I stopped talking about it and everything. So I actually want to make a note here for myself. Retire coin drop. Refund Kyle. Yeah, actually, more so, I need to get back into the habit, like what we are teaching in coStarting, right? Like building in public, doing it. Where
yep.
I think I myself have gotten a little bit complacent with that methodology now, where I am running these cohorts, but I'm not actually doing it myself anymore.
Right. Like
That
that's what I was thinking when I brought it up. Like maybe look at it as if it was another project in the first cohort, what would you tell to you, fake you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for coin drop, it's again, I made up my mind, right? It's dead, and that's fine. I think you can pivot, persevere, or you just kill it, right?
Yeah.
And it's I keep the landing page. I'll when I say I retire the project, I'll take away the the sign up links, and maybe I'll just have a pop up when you first go to the website. It's like, hey, this is one of the old ideas. Maybe link to my blog or something, so that I have. I want to keep it alive. Like I put a little bit of time into it, what it does right now, and it's just gonna be one of those things. It goes in the drawer and it just lives there, right? The beauty of it is like much to the advantage of the virtual world. It doesn't take up any space, right? Um, just we are talking about this a lot recently, kind of decluttering. Um, so yeah, I'll just keep it. It's just defunct, kind of retired, but it's out there. If someone ever comes across it and wants to take the idea and run with it, that's fine.
Cool.
But even more so, right, for coStarting itself, which is I guess my main project right now, is like I every Tuesday I tweet about this, and then I tweet about the cohort and whatnot. But other than that, I'm really not building in public either right now. I'm not building the brand. I'm not doing anything, which is bad, right? Because I'm telling everyone else to do it, and I don't follow my own advice. I was pretty excited actually last week when Ray, one of the cohort 3 members, suggested to write a newsletter, a weekly newsletter about all of the things we learn in this meeting, in the cohort meeting, and in the peer group. And they already started a draft for the first one, and then again I dropped off it. So I myself really need the accountability too, which I provide for others, but it doesn't work being in the cohorts I run. So that's actually an interesting dynamic. I need to figure something out that works for me.
Well, maybe the peer group would be better, that it's not like so strict, right? It's just kind of you doing your own timeline.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would want it to be more strict than your guys' current peer group is, to be honest. Like, I think that would be too relaxed for me, and I wouldn't have much more than what I have right now. It's like I have my own goals, but if there isn't anything I need to do, or I actually, like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't necessarily need the threat of losing money or anything, but I want to have. Yeah, as I'm talking about it, maybe it could work, because at least you get back into that shared mindset, right, where you guys then check up on me. Yeah, maybe. I'll have to think about that.
If we let you in.
Yeah, right. Well, actually, I think it's for this peer group again. It doesn't really work because it's, first of all, 5 is a good number, I think, and I don't want to take that over either, because then we end up. I could see that thread of, we're gonna just talk about coStarting a lot, because you guys are also kind of excited about that overarching project, which basically runs your peer group, and that's not the point. So I might just really need outside counsel, right? Like, just find another mastermind or something to be a part of. That's an interesting dynamic, really is. It could be cool in the future at some point if I have more people who want to contribute, to maybe someone comes on board and says, hey, I would love to write that newsletter, right? Then we could have that peer group together, but
yeah, that's true.
What about you? How's the peer group working for you?
It's fine. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. Something like is kind of different. I'm not sure what it is. That it I don't know, maybe it's just our dynamic working together, that we're all kind of unsure right now, but well, besides Timo's very sure.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, maybe we're just at that stage. Like, maybe, like, at first you can put in a bunch of work, and if it doesn't immediately give you something out, you're like, okay, I just got to be patient. I got to wait. But like, you hit highs and lows, right? So I think maybe we just might be at that point where we're either gonna, drop off our projects and stop working on them, or like push through and.
Well, think about it for yourself, right? Like, don't make an assumption about the others, but what does that mean for you right now?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not getting a lot of views on my videos. I'm not getting a lot of subscribers or anything. And like, it's been okay. It hadn't really bothered me or been like disheartening or whatever. But it is kind of feeling like less, it's like less necessary now for me to put out a video every week. It just like,
Why is that?
I'm not sure.
No, why is it, like you're saying, it's less necessary?
Well, no,
That sounds like, oh,
it feels less necessary.
why? I just think logically. Don't even think feeling.
Just because nobody's seeing it. So
why do you do those videos in the first place?
to get people involved and to care about what I'm doing and maybe interested in upcycling, and I don't know.
So I think we talked about this the last couple of times, right? Like I think you need to really start getting to the point where you have your mission. Like we talked 2 weeks ago, we talked about your vision and mission. Because if you're not doing it for that, then I agree. And that's kind of like with CoinDrop for me, right? Like, well, I mean, take it or leave it. Not there's no bigger reason behind. That was just like, okay, there was one project which got me into the coStarting rhythm.
Right.
But for you, it's different, right? And I think you're still just not there. You're still just making videos. Well, so what? Who gives a shit? I agree.
Right.
Because you're just making videos. No one even if they watch all of your videos right now, I don't think it comes across what you actually want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you should ask yourself, how do you do that? Like, what is that, right? I mean, it's defined. I think we wrote it down. You wrote it down. There's snippets here and there, and there's a bigger picture. There's lots of ideas. But what does that mean? And try to get to a point where every day, and that kind of now goes back to the original first cohort, right? Every day do something, no matter how small it is, that gets you closer to
Right.
that big picture, that reason why you're getting up in the morning, right? In part, that's money, of course, in the long term, making money with this project, but you're so value aligned with the general project of upcycling and educating the world about making better decisions, I guess, around trash and textiles and all of that.
Yeah.
But what does that mean, Like, I think maybe just start with designing that brand, maybe just kind of like, again, vision board it or something, like really start sketching it out on a piece of paper or I mean, whatever works, write it out, kind of get clarity around it, right? And then talk about that. Help make videos about that, tweet about that, like really just creating that company or that project.
Yeah.
Because I think I agree, right? Right now, the videos, they probably seem kind of impactless. Is that a word? Non-impactful. Because they don't really have a purpose.
Yeah.
They are the type of videos, at least the type of videos you're making right now. They are good content. They are good fillers for your overall mission, right? But I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong here, of course, you might have a bit more clarity around this yourself, but at least from an externally, and even for me, right, being fairly close to you, but it's not entirely clear, where is this going? What are you even doing, right? What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the plan? Now, maybe not so much the point. The point's kind of clear, but what's the plan? Like, where is this gonna be in 4 weeks from now, 6 months from now, right? Like, we are now already 4 months in from the first cohort, from the start
Yep.
of it. Where should you be right now? Where did you think you would be? Actual question.
I mean, I didn't think I would be all that much farther than I am.
Where are you right now?
Nowhere.
No, I'm not going to make it that easy for you. Come on.
I
Might as
know.
well just start thinking
Really
about
like
it.
it's really not a good time for me to be talking about this. Like it's really
There never is, right? Like that happened 2 weeks ago. There
yeah, but
never
this
is.
is like worse and
Just you need to be able to just kind of leave everything on the door because now you're at work. You're thinking about work. That's it. That's how this work. The world works, right? So what's work? Like at every given point in time, like let's say in a year from now, right? You're wherever you're successful, you're doing all of these things. It's on track. You're kind of making an impact. At every given point in time, need to be able to pitch, right? Your business. What are you doing? Like you could meet someone on the street who I don't know has like a crazy impact for you, right? An impact investor, like
mhm.
recycling investor or something. What are you going to tell them? Like again, this is hypothetical. We're further ahead now, but like for right now, like there's good days, there's bad days. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Okay, so where I am right now, I like I'm happy with my product. I think that I'm really growing and settling into like a place where I'm satisfied with what I'm creating and like more confident that when people do buy it that they're going to be happy with it. So that's cool and I'm happy with like being able to make multiple things out of one thing, like the zero waste. I think that's cool. Um, doing the rugs and the knitting and stuff that are used with my scraps. So I really don't have any waste from my textiles that I'm upcycling. Um, my I guess mostly it's the community that's not really getting off the ground and it's my thing. My like I said, my videos aren't they're like little projects. They're not really tied into the whole vision. So yeah, I guess I mean I've been saying this for 3 months, right? That I want to focus more onto my sustainability, like big picture track of um not just making my videos like I'm gonna turn this shirt into a pillow, you know. Um, but it's I need to figure out how to like concretely set up a roadmap for that. Like,
So what's the difficulty there? Because we did talk about this at quite at length a couple of weeks ago, right?
yeah,
Where are you stuck with that? Is it just a comfort zone? Is it just that you're not?
kind of. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like everything so far has been like I can use my Instagram that I already made and it kind of fits into this space. Um and I just kind of don't know where to start. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like just
But I mean, we can spitball this again, right? But like we're gonna have in 10 minutes, we're gonna have 20 ideas, but it doesn't help you if you just need to pick one and just do it, right? That's it.
right. Yeah.
It's that simple. Because last time we talked about the straw idea, you find the straw, somehow you're gonna give the background of the entire economics of straws and the impact and blah blah blah, and you do the research. It's easy to start doing the research, then create a video, talk about it, right?
Hmm.
And then maybe turn that, like, combine it with an upcycling project. I don't know, like the style of video. Again, brainstorm it, decide on a couple styles or one style you want to start with in addition to your just creation, and do that. Another alternative is do interviews. I'm not sure if we talked about this before, but find people to interview or have a conversation with, right? Do this kind of style and have someone else who is in that space just talk to them, record it, and make a video out of that and share that on your channels.
Yeah.
Like, so if video is the main thing still, right? There is 1,000 things that ways to go about it. You have a blog, you have an Instagram, you have Twitter, but I think, blog, maybe a website are the other channels. And you just need to pick a track, right? Like, just blog about the problems, blog about the things you think are unjust or not right,
Hmm.
and fill that with content which you think would be valuable. It's that simple. And then just set yourself a goal. I'm going to do that once a week. I'm going to do that every day, whatever that is. Because you can be and should be probably intentional about building community, but if you're putting out good content, community kind of builds probably automatically, slow, but it will, right? Like that's how you build a following. Why should people follow you?
Hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start tomorrow
With what?
with researching what different people are doing, different kinds like styles of video I can be doing, and then thinking about what I'm making from that perspective, you know.
Maybe also just kind of a side comment there. Maybe video is good. Like if you think that's the way to go, that's totally fine. But you're doing a lot of videos and still learning that too right now. So
Mhm.
maybe try to think about other things too, right? Because writing a blog is gonna be no effort. Well, it's effort. It's effort. but you know how to write.
Yeah.
And like you still, even for the research, you still need to kind of get into that. Like how do you properly research and then organize the things you find,
Yeah.
which that in itself is work, right? Or setting up interviews or something, right? And I'm happy to help with all of those, but just kind of like pick low hanging fruit. What's the
Hmm.
easiest? What is your MVP? And then, if you still want to do the creation videos in the meantime, that's totally fine, I think.
Yeah. So maybe I'm gonna start like blogging more intentionally, focusing on like creating written content. Because I've also said that a few times that my blog is it's not really what I want it to be. It's just kind of like sharing my other stuff. So maybe I can use that as a start for like getting my bigger goals kind of at least out onto the page.
Right. Yeah, and start with the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Really start in the beginning, because and you don't have to publish them right away either, right? Like, but I think it'll help. Maybe that is actually a good format for you. Maybe just start writing.
Well, I do
as
actually. I have a lot sitting here. What's my website? I think I have like 4 unpublished posts where I started. Yeah, 5 actually. Zero waste upcycling, why reduce, reuse, recycle doesn't cut it. Yeah, like different things where I was like, I'm gonna write a blog about what I really care about, but then I get like a paragraph into it and it's not perfect.
It's never going to be perfect.
I know but I think that's part of the big problem is like these things that I'm doing now, I know they're not perfect because they're not part of the bigger thing, and that's fine. They can be imperfect and I can do them imperfectly. But the things that are going to be part of my bigger vision, I want to be perfect.
Yeah, but your bigger vision doesn't exist right now, right? So who cares?
Yeah.
That's a classic dilemma. It's over engineering at its finest.
Yeah.
So just get over that. Like the only thing where I would agree with that is if you have references or if you make claims, right? If you claim it's 13 tons, you better be able to back that up. But you will. I mean, that's just where you do a little bit of research. I think what also, and I'm not that great at this either, by any means, but like I think what differentiates a good blogger from an okay blogger is the work behind the scenes, right? Like what you see, what you consume, is the tip of the iceberg as the audience. But that there's 20 hours of work going into each blog post behind the scenes, no one sees that, and that's good. And that's what you kind of maybe use Notion for or whatever. Like find your process to structure these things, and I do think you will benefit too from just having that structure in like a day in your week, right? Like where you say, okay, every morning from 8 to 10, I'm going to do research. Because coming up with the topics for the blog is not hard. Writing that first paragraph is not hard. It's everything else that comes after that. And in order to do that, you're going to have like a couple of topics laid out and then just research them. And then once you're ready for them, you publish. I listened to a podcast about that. I don't remember who it was, but it was a very popular blogger. And they said the same thing, right? They long form content, right? Where sometimes they research something for 6 months until it's ready, or not just research, but work on it. Because with these, especially if, like it doesn't have to be like this right away, right? Like it can be a little bit lighter. It doesn't have to be, 30-minute reads. Just write little thoughts or opinion pieces or something. But then eventually I could totally see that for your domain, where as you get into it, like you yourself need to be in that mindset of that very topic and really immerse yourself with it, right? Or in it. But I don't know, maybe there's other things. Maybe just live stream like this, right? Like so you don't have the editing overhead.
Yeah.
Maybe just have that conversation. Of course, the content's better if it's edited, but I mean, we can't do it all, right? If you're a one-man show, one-woman show, then do what you can. Find people who are similar or interested, then talk to them. Hell, talk to your power Twitter follower, right? Like the other seamstress, or I'm not sure if she would call herself that, but just talk about it, right? Like get people who are not exactly like you. Get people who are just in the textile industry. Get them on all sides of the spectrum and talk, and then you weave in the topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Let's keep it simple, I think, is the thing, you know? Like I struggle with that very much so myself, but and maybe just dial it down too, you know, like when we are having these conversations and defining that big picture, maybe it's overshooting, right? It's like, okay, that's maybe the goal, but now what? Let's break that down actionable. What does that mean for the next month and the next 3 months? What am I trying to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
Think about how we were doing that with our off-grid channel, right? It's similar. Every video has kind of a purpose. I mean, it's a little bit easier because it's a big project we're just working through, and but how we share it, how we think about our audience,
Yeah.
how we think about the value we're delivering to them. We talk about that a lot. I think you have it's very similar. And maybe there is auxiliary things you can do to kind of take some pressure out of it, you know, like maybe it's okay to decide, okay, I'm going to focus on the creation part and figure out how to make money with that consistently, and then you go slowly over to the the bigger brand, the bigger vision. Like you're still
Yeah.
creating the way you want it to be, that, you know, with the upcycling and everything, but because those are quite different problems to solve, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe doing both at the same time is too much for now. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be.
But if you do that, you have to do the same thing, right? Then it's not just, okay, well, I decided I'm only going to focus on that. Then just creating the creation videos is not going to be enough either. Then you just have to look at that from a different angle and see, like, why are people buying? We talked about before, like the last, you know, persons, like how can you get feedback from them? Can you talk to them? How do you reach them? Where are they hanging out?
Yeah, there's something interesting. This is just like a tangent and maybe a topic of something I could discuss and go into with someone else in the space. Is I see a lot of people like on Twitter saying, yeah, like all of these fashion activists are coming at people saying, um, like don't buy fast fashion and stuff, but it's not really possible when, you know, you're a certain person that maybe plus size, living on a certain income, and they don't even necessarily make, you know, organic cotton pants that are cute that you want to wear in your size that aren't $150, you know? So like getting into the root of the problem there, um, I think that's super interesting, and I think that that's also a space that there is space for someone to fill. I don't know
Right.
if that's me. Um,
Yeah,
but
well, maybe not, but just having that conversation, right? Like
right.
you are the host, you guide that conversation. That's what you can do. Like you could have two people on there, right? One uh, from the fast fashion industry, or one from like one who would support the arguments like don't buy that stuff, and then someone who actually has a problem if they don't buy that stuff, right? That'd be great. And there might not be a solution right away. But of course, you could then also say, well, yes, that is a problem. I think this would be an interesting niche for someone to solve. But if we are now, that's where your research comes in again, right? Like if we're looking at the size of that market who has that problem and the regular market of everyone else, it's still, I mean, it would be, I mean, I'm just guessing here, but it would be much, much smaller, right? Like you would still be, okay, now we're wasting 1 ton instead of 13 tons or whatever, something like that, right? You see where I'm going with this? Where, okay, yeah, you have that problem. It's just like, you know, eating meat or vegetarianism or whatever, right? Like if you can make that argument that not everyone can be vegan because they have actually physical restrictions and that their body would not function otherwise, right? But because of that, the entire argument for veganism is not invalid, right?
Right.
So, and maybe there's other options, right? Like, and by you having that conversation, maybe there's options are going to surface which are not known, not popular, right? Like maybe there are startups trying to solve that already.
Yeah.
I think that would be a very interesting role for you. Like it's just finding that. If you're the curator, right? I think in the creator age now, curation is extremely valuable. But you're going to have to overcome the challenge to reach out to people like that, right?
Yeah.
And talk to them, get them on a call or video or whatever.
I think also though maybe Clubhouse would be a cool place to start with that kind of thing. I know that there like is a big kind of upcycling and fashion sustainability community on Clubhouse. So maybe
do that. That'd be great.
I gotta get an invitation.
Huh?
I gotta get an invitation.
Well, there's probably still one on my account. That will be the smaller issue.
Oh.
It's on your phone anyway. Yeah, that's a good idea. You should do that. It's gonna be like this though, right? Like that's a problem. It's gonna be it's daunting. I'm assuming implicitly, at least in your head, because it's gonna be like, well, shit. Now I'm just gonna hang out with myself or one person for the next 3 months until.
Yeah.
But and I should be doing this too. So just to turn the blame around here for a minute. No one is on these calls because no one knows about these calls. I'm not doing anything to make it known, right? Like, I mean, I posted in our own Slack channel, and there is, you know, all of the people from the post cohorts on there, but people busy. So it's not that easy to get people on this. For you, it's going to be a bit more. You need to have a panel. You need to have people you're talking to, right? You have to have curated interviews or something. And I don't know if I told you this before. I'm planning on doing this eventually too. Is having structured interviews about coStarting.
We talked about that, yeah.
And you could do the same thing, right? Where it's more or less always the same questions, and people want to talk about this stuff. I think because they have very little downside. The only thing you're asking from them is giving you 30 minutes or 60 minutes. But it positions them, if they're already doing something in that space, right? Or if they're activists in this space, or if they're just concerned, that they want to carry that message forward. That's your advantage. In this space, everyone will be passionate about it, even your opposition, right? But you need to get those on too.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. Yeah. Or the other way around, try to insert yourself in other people's.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, just hop into those conversations, at least at the beginning.
Yeah. That's the same thing we should be doing on Twitter, right? Like engaging with the people who are already talking about this, kind of just popping up in the community. Reach out to other YouTubers who are doing something like that, and just be like, "Hey, I'd love to be on your next, stream or whatever podcast." Find the podcasters.
Yeah.
So you said you're going to start tomorrow. We talked about a couple more things now. So what are you going to start tomorrow? And can you do it today already?
No, I can't because I have to make an entire living off the grid video that got deleted.
Fair enough.
So I think I am gonna try to find those people in Clubhouse. First of all, get my invitation from you. Maybe start identifying the people that I want to talk with and topics. Topics aren't my problem, so maybe that shouldn't be.
Yeah, but it's still good to structure it. Write it down.
Yeah.
At least,
Yeah. And then I think I will start by blogging about it, making my blogs more intentional and factual and narrative rather than just here's this. So that's how maybe if I wasn't super stressed out about the living off the grid thing, I would say maybe I blog now about this, what I'm blog about what I hope my blog to become,
just
get something out there, right?
Again, why I'm asking, can you do it today, is because I was thinking more along the lines of what can you start to make that habit again, to do at least one thing towards that every single day, right?
Well, maybe once I do finish this video, tonight or something, sitting on the couch, I can start to get into Clubhouse and look for those communities and whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Not like I literally have no other time.
Right. Yeah. That anyway. I think the things you can do on the couch, you should, but the problem is you also need to kind of keep track of them on your computer then at the same time, right?
Yeah.
But you can still just say, okay, every night after dinner, I'm going to write a half hour, or before I go to bed, I'm going to write a half hour. Like, I think that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that would help actually. Though. Like just having a set schedule, and yes, it will change. It will not always be the same schedule, but just block off. I think writing probably in the morning would be better. Just guessing here. Just block off an hour every morning for the next 30 days and build that habit.
Yeah.
And writing of course, I guess, include the research a little bit too. And yes, I should do the same thing. I really should. But you're a more natural writer than me, at least, so you'll have that advantage.
Well, and I do I do kind of, I want something that I can be doing during that time on the couch where I'm like tired, and it's not like I want to be up in my sewing room like creating, but I want to be doing something toward my project. And that's like why I like the knitting with yoga pants and whatever, because I can just kind of sit around and do that. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. But yeah.
But it's not getting you really any closer to that.
Right.
It feels like it because at least you're not just watching TV, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I also think of course, we're both in kind of a funky situation in our lives too, but where, even when we were on the road, it was almost better. I mean, we also took less time towards work, right? Intentionally so, more time towards life, but then you make it more time slotted, like you get up,
Yeah.
breakfast, hike, come back, relax for a bit, work. Then maybe another, I don't know, go to the hot spring at night, and then day's over, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
It's different. It's kind of crazy how different it is.
it's the comfort, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's of course one of the biggest reasons why most people don't notice, but why we choose to change our life significantly, um, and become more simple, like a more simple life, a less comfortable life, right? Like, don't have a fucking huge couch and a huge TV in front of it, which just happens. I mean, we said when we were on the road, we're not going to do it. We were home. Like, first thing we did, we just every
Mhm.
day you sit on the couch and watch TV at night, right?
Because
Because
you're like, little break, okay, we just got back, like we can indulge a little bit, but then it's
right,
like just turns back into the habit.
yeah. So we might even have to. And we talk about this every now and then, but we might still have to talk about not having a TV or something. It
Mm.
would be better, right? Because we're going to live off of data plans on our phones for a while, where naturally you can't just binge watch shit.
Yeah, you can't watch Beyonce in Italy
Yeah, you
for
can't.
3 hours.
Um,
Oh, I miss Italy.
but so I think we could talk about this next week, maybe on the VCMs too. It's like, how do you structure your day, right? Your life, your week, as kind of, I don't know, millennial entrepreneurs who won't need purpose in their life or whatever.
It's really hard. First of all, I almost think that I should get evaluated for ADHD, um, because I do realize how ridiculously I work. Like I literally sit down and I do 30 minutes and then I have to get up and kind of cleanse my brain and then sit down again. Otherwise, I just like I can't just sit down and work. It's super frustrating. Um, and I would love to know how people do that.
Well, so do you think it would help? Like, say, okay, you got evaluated, so I guess you have ADHD.
No,
Then,
probably
well,
not.
here's Ritalin.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Right, but I mean there's tons of creative people with ADHD, so I don't know, maybe it is finding out other neurodivergent people who are working and how they work. Because I can't just get up and go water my garden every 30 minutes. Like
Yeah,
it's not sustainable, but it's like what my brain wants. Um,
yeah. But I think that's fine too, right? Yeah, this is interesting. You're onto something there. Because just realizing your rhythm is half of it, right? Now, for you, it's that. For me, I have the same struggles. I think everyone does to a certain extent. I think for some it's easier than for others. But I'm not a deep work type of guy either. Very not often anyway. Like, if I have a new project and I'm like coding and I'm really getting into it, yes, I do that. But it really needs to be clear objectives, which is why I always
yeah.
hammer that home. It's like, okay, what is it that you're trying to accomplish there?
Hmm.
Because the more loose it is to begin with, the more loose your schedule is, the more loose your goals are and your milestones, the more slack you give yourself, right? If you don't have a deadline, then, well, I'll do it tomorrow,
Yeah.
or I'll do it after I water the garden. But that's not how work works, right? Like, I mean, not effective anyway.
Well, right now
So
I'm thinking like I have to finish this video. Not even finish. I have to create this entire video today. So I'm like, maybe I'm gonna set up outside because that'll make it easier for me to just sit and work at it. Like I won't feel so like I have to get up and go. somewhere I can just take a breath.
Yeah, remove distractions. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is interesting. So if you get into that, like kind of figure out, oh man, I don't know why I'm so tired today. Figure out what works for others who are similar, right? If you have a label ADHD or not, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just like that's how it feels to you, and if it feels similar to others, if they have ADHD or not, doesn't even matter.
Right.
Because obviously, I don't think you would be just want to taking any crazy medication for it, right?
No.
That wouldn't be the point. Maybe you need to microdose LSD. Talked about
Maybe.
the other day. That apparently works, man, in Silicon
Yeah.
Valley. That's the shit. I don't know if it's still that hyped up, but it used to be for quite a while.
Yeah, get me some, I'll try it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's the problem. But yeah, maybe we should also not talking about taking drugs on this live stream. We do not condone taking drugs. Make your own decisions. This is not an advice, life advice.
It's not?
I don't think so. I don't want to be responsible for someone taking it the wrong way. But yeah, okay, cool. Once again, we've been by ourselves. I need to make it a point to rethink what the virtual coffee meetings are and why we are having them and how we get people on them. Because I think it does help. Like even just our conversations help, right? But I also believe that's probably going to be boring for people. So there's no reason for us to live stream that. If it's just the two of us, we might as well just sit together or sit outside and remove distractions.
I would love it if some of the current cohort people would hop on, or maybe we change the time to a time that works for them. I haven't really had any interaction with any of them, and I'm really interested in what a lot of them are working on.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
love to
actually
hear
an
from them
interesting
and
point.
hear how it's going.
I could just make it not for this cohort, but I could just make it a requirement
Yeah.
for the cohort that they need to join those. Um, but I agree, right? This is the intention for this was, of course, to have some framework where the greater community can come together and just
Hmm.
talk about the things they're doing. But yeah, I'm just assuming a lot. Yeah, everyone has so many things they're doing. You know, they have a family, they have their own lives,
Right.
and just adding one more on top of it is not that easy. I mean, not everyone is that. It's not their company, right? Like for me, it's my company now I'm building, but that's why I'm happy to be on as many calls as I need to. But of course, that's not the point for everyone. But I'll see what they say. I'll send them the clip where you just said that, and maybe it works.
Maybe.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
I'll get back to work.
Yep.
All right, let's do that.
Cool.
We'll see you all next week, or you will see us. No one's joining us, so. We never even shout out how you can join us, right? Like, so every Tuesday, if you ever come across one of those videos, every Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, you can join these. I will make sure that the link to these calls is in the description of the video. So maybe we'll see you next week.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.